Okay, hello all you crazy people out there. My name is Michael, I like wizards and dragons and making games, and it is time to make some tower defense games. In the last video, I created a poison tower of sorts, or a bug spray tower, I should say, to use the lore-friendly version of the name. It does pretty much what you think. It will create a cloud of poison for bugs to walk through. Okay, wrong button there. And when the bugs walk through the poison, they will be poisoned, and they will take damage over time and possibly die. Okay. That works. Today we're going to be doing something very similar, and this is going to be a, let's see, a flypaper tower. I don't know exactly what a tower that shoots flypaper is going to look like, but we're going to suspend the disbelief a little bit, and we're going to call it tower_flypaper. How about dispenser? Flypaper dispenser, that sounds good. I suppose for what it's worth, by the way, the bug spray cloud model is currently kind of a miscellaneous item that is loaded in when the game starts. I could assign that to a bullet data type and create one of those and use that as and effectively just consider the poison cloud things a bullet type. But okay, now that I'm thinking about it, this bug spray cloud model that's just loaded in is kind of a free-floating 3D model, a vertex buffer. It doesn't have to be, I suppose. Now that I think about it, the clouds of bug spray gas that are spawned could just be effectively, as far as the game is concerned, a bullet. And I think I will actually do that. Bullet, bug spray, new bullet data. Sure, let's go with that. Big spray, bug spray, and then reload the model. Bug spray.d3d, that's fine. And then I no longer need this. And the bullet type that is used by the bug spray could be a bullet underscore one of those things. And then we're effectively shooting periodically, and then we can just kind of reuse the shooting code. Where is the actual shooting code? Okay, it says bullet equals new entity bullet of type that. Let's borrow this. Let's kind of do this instead. Tower bug spray, spawn spray. Okay, down here at the bottom, entity bug spray cloud. This is going to kind of sort of be a new bullet type. And at the end of this video, I think I will separate the different types of entities out by like category. X, Y, Z, velocity, X velocity, Y velocity, Z, bullet data, and damage. The velocity is 0. Bullet data is going to be passed in through the constructor. Like this. And damage is going to be 0. Entity bullet bug spray cloud. That's quite a mouthful. But it's going to extend that. And now we need to create one of these. Number of arguments for that's expected 4 got 3. Oh, does it already know what type it's supposed to be? Oh no, that would have been because I didn't rename it until later. Never mind. Game Maker's not that smart. The bullet data is... God, what's that saved to? Entity tower dot base bullets data. Okay. And then when we draw, we can just use the... When we render ourselves here, we can just use the self.bulletdata.model or whatever it is. Is that what it is? Render.model.vbuff. Okay. Instead of pulling a random model out of like miscellaneous variable locations, bullet data dot model.vbuff. Is it bullet data or base bullet data? We'll find out. If it crashes, then it's the other one. If it works, it's what I just did here. Oh. Yeah. It doesn't need to do anything special. Okay. I remember these classes are kind of weird. The bullet data classes don't actually really do anything. I don't know, unknown object.model not set before reading it. I never passed the last value to the constructor. Okay, oops. That's awkward. This is why it takes me forever to get anything done, honestly. Okay, so it's working. That took about, it looks like about 5 minutes according to OBS whenever I started doing this. Let's send in something as long as it applies damage to these things, and we're fine. You pass through, you should die in a couple seconds. Yep, okay. It failed to spawn a thing once. Okay. Must have gotten really unlucky on the dice rolls. Well, I guess given enough random events that will happen occasionally, I can drastically reduce the chances of that happening by having it spawn a couple more. I could make it a little bit smarter about how it spawns these clouds. I could have it actually look for a nearby path location before spawning something. That's probably a task for later. Instead, let's just make this commit. Bug spray clouds are actually bullets, because that makes sense. Anyway, the subject of today's video is going to be flypaper dispensers, as I was doing before I got sidetracked. Right now, as it is, these are really just containers for a 3D model. I will create that 3D model file in a moment. These bullet dated things don't actually do anything. I probably should have planned that out a little bit better at the beginning, but at some point I'll remove it. So tower flypaper does this. We're going to spawn a flypaper thing. I'm going to go real quick and create some 3D models. These are not going to look good. Just saying. I really, really need to inquire with some people about like art design at some point in the nearest future. Give me a moment. Okay, this is flypaper. It looks terrible. And this is the tower that dispenses them, which arguably looks even worse. Okay. Let's see. Flypaper.d3d, tower flypaper.d3d. These all exist. I need to add a thing to the user interface that will allow the player to actually spawn one. The variable, the name, I'm remembering this time. Is going to be flypaper dispenser, and the thing that we spawn is going to be entity tower flypaper. There we go. Okay, I need to actually create that class now. And what's that going to look like? It's going to work very similar as I said before. Let's comment all this out before we do anything. I just want to spawn one in and make sure that we can get that far without the game crashing. I imagine we will. Alright, well, that looks like some sort of, like, traffic cone that's been through a paper shredder, but we can make do with it. It's a little small. It's a little on the small side. Let me actually make that bigger. I'm also going to make the spray tower bigger. I want to say the other towers have a footprint of 16 by 16 or 32 by 32, and these things have a footprint of 24 by 24. So let's scale that up by 4/3 on all axes. The z-axis can be like, how tall is this thing? Maximum height is 32. Okay, we can scale it up by 1.5 on the z-axis. Okay. That's okay. We now have an outer radius of 16. And let me do the same for the bug spray tower real quick. Okay, you are significantly bigger now, and you are a slightly bigger traffic cone than before, which I'm unable to place. I should be able to place you there. Oh, I don't have enough money. That would do it. The eternal struggle. Okay. I can commit these. Fly, paper, dispenser, setup. Now to actually do this, the way that this is going to spawn things is going to be very similar to the other one. I'm just going to call this method dispense, at least partially because I like to say that word out loud. It's kind of a fun word to say. I can also get rid of these debug printouts because that should happen infrequently enough that it you won't see it. I say that, but if you were to place one of these towers like at the edge of a bend in the road where there's a very small area where you can dispense something, then there's a good chance that it'll just miss randomly, and that would be a good reason for me to go and try and find a location that you can spawn a cloud or another hazard, a general hazard, so that I can avoid those situations. But first, let's deal with the bigger problems on hand. Entity bullet, bug spray cloud. Let's go and I really feel like this reposition function, I will revisit that later. Someone hold me to that. Entity bullet, fly paper, which again is a bullet in name only. The lifetime, the radius, that can still apply, so that things are able to, so that it's able to detect when something walks by. Foe.poison is not going to really be a thing that we do. And do I actually need to re-implement the... I really don't need to re-implement the render method for either of these. Okay. Entity bullet fly paper. Entity tower fly paper. And respawn one here. And that's it. These are going to look a little bit weirder when spawned on the track, because they are... like, they're kind of being spawned below the rocks there, and it looks kind of weird when they're spawning below the rocks. I could make them higher. I'm not sure what to do about that visually. There's a couple things that could be done. They could just be made larger rather. They could be made larger. They could be raised off the ground a little bit. We'll see. Let's see. I'm gonna commit this. I don't want these to work entirely the way that the poison clouds do, but first I'm going to actually get rid of the render methods because I am going to forget to do that otherwise. Where are you? I'm going to get rid of the render methods. These are redundant. The bullets already render themselves. I don't need that now that I've made these subclass of the bullet objects. If I send something in, I'm going to like, these obviously render properly. And now that I have enough money to spawn one of these, those still render properly. Okay. When we get to drawing some sort of, like, probably particle effect, at least for the poison clouds, it's going to be a little bit of a different story, but the fly paper certainly doesn't need such a thing. Foe.poison is a method that belongs to foes. I'm going to add another status method for these guys, and they are going to be slow. Status slow. I'm going to give this a duration. Hang on, wait, is this correct? Burn. Okay, poison should be happening for the poison duration. Let's say macro slow duration. That can also be 2 seconds is going to be the magic number here. And then macro, instead of a like slowing DPS, because that doesn't make sense, let's say slow factor. And this can slow them down to half speed. So we're going to be doing more 2s here. Slow duration. Okay, to go about doing this, there is a set... Like, I wrote all these set status modifier methods, unsure of whether or not I was going to actually use them at any point. They may, like, defense may or may not actually get used by one of these things. Speed, as it turns out, will be. So I can say set speed mod, and that's going to take a parameter, which is the scale factor. Let's say set speed mod slow, what was it, slow factor? There we go. And where's update? If status slow is greater than 0, status slow minus equals delta time, else. Actually, no, we will check to see if this should be unset. If status slow is less than or equal to 0, then set speed mod, and we will reset the speed modifier. Okay, this could cause some, it looks like there is a syntax error somewhere, that should be a semicolon. This could cause some conflicts if there are multiple factors that could cause an enemy to slow down. Because when the speed modifier from the flypaper or whatever wears off, then it'll be reset to its original speed, but as long as the only thing that controls the speed of an enemy is this variable here, is this value here, then we should be okay. I'm not planning on making this a fancy game with like a million different effects or anything, so it should be okay. That's my constraint. Okay. And then we'll actually apply this. Fo.slow. And we'll see if this does what I want it to. This has gone like half the amount of time that the last video did, probably because most of the work was already done by that video. Let's plop down a flypaper dispenser there and send something in and see if they do indeed slow down. I should be able to visibly see this. Oh no, you are. Oh, okay. That's the opposite of what I wanted to happen. That makes sense, honestly. So what we effectively did is double the speed of the enemy when they walked over that thing. And where are you? Like set speed modifier slow factor of 2. That's gonna set the speed modifier to 2. What I really want to do is 0.5. This should be much better. All right. I'm going to set you up near the beginning so I have less time to wait. Okay, you are slowing. That is good. If I were to... Ooh, 2 seconds for that is really not that much time, like, at all. That's actually really not very helpful. And this is the sort of thing where you don't really want it to be able to hit both parts of a track strategically, because then 50% of the time... it's going to be laying down flypaper on part of the track where there are no enemies. Alright, well, I kind of shot myself in the foot there, but here you can see it's working. We are indeed being able to get twice as many hits on these woodlouse things. Okay, I like that. Slow status implemented. Okay. This is all I really wanted to get done in this video. I do definitely so far like implementing one tower type per video instead of trying to cram them all together, because it allows me to spend more time on these things and I don't feel as rushed. All the same, there is some housekeeping that I want to do. These are really not being used for anything. Except as a container for the 3D model. Like, if I were to search the code for .bullet data, or just bullet data in general. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay, that's what the fire bullets do. The thinking was like if a bullet would explode when it hits something and create like a secondary shower of bullets or something like that, and do a like area of effect damage, then the code for that would go in there. I now don't know if I want to remove this. I feel like, and I don't remember exactly, but I feel like at some point in the past I've probably been through this exact dilemma before, deciding whether or not I want to delete this. Alright, in that case, let's actually use them for their intended use. One, so that I actually see that it's there. Let's refactor my code a little bit. The bullets data constructor is going to take on hit function, and that is going to turn into a method of self.onHit equals method self and the onHit function. Have I used the method keyword anywhere else in this code? I have not. I have not made a video on it as of my recording this. I don't want to... Method is kind of a weird subject in GML, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. It essentially binds a function to an object It sets the definition of self, and it sets the scope that the function will be called in. That definitely merits its own video in the future. This does mean I can get rid of the bullet data fire. This doesn't really need to be a subclass. I can just kind of compose it here. Like this. Okay, very JavaScripty. I happen to like JavaScripty code. Some people do not. I am sorry if this does not sit very well with you. And the rest of these will not. The base bullet class won't do anything. Bug spray will. Like this. And flypaper will, like that. Okay. Next, we simply invoke the bullets data.onHit methods here, and all right, there. We do it with the flypaper and with the poison. So I've started to touch on this. And I actually forgot about it until just now, and it's a good thing that I did that refactoring because it made me remember. The way I'm going to have flypaper work is going to be a little bit different from the bug spray. It's going to have the slowing effect, and you seem to not be doing anything. Am I calling the right... All right, hold that thought. Oh, that's because they're burned. I was gonna say, is that code running? Am I calling the wrong method? But no, the onHit method was just copied and pasted from the fire bullet, and it was just burning them instead of causing them to be slowed. Let's try that again. Okay. You are indeed being slowed. If I were to build a pebble shooter right here, then we would be able to get many, many hits in on you as you pass by at half speed. That's great. If I were to build a fire tower when you loop back around and come back, or something like that, another tower of sorts, we would indeed be able to get more hits on you again. None of you actually died. That's unfortunate. I'm going to lose all my health here, aren't I? Nope, not quite. Anyway, let's make this commit. Refactored bullet data constructors to make them actually useful. And then what I was saying before about these. So the flypaper dispenser, this isn't going to be on a timer the way these gas clouds are. Instead, they're going to have a certain number of hits that they can take. They're going to have a certain number of foes that they can slow before they expire. I'm going to make a variable called hits remaining, and I'm going to set that to like 10. We are going to be allowed to slow down 10 foes before just the flypaper expires. And then instead of taking down the lifetime variable, we're going to say, oh, you know what? I also just realized the break here, the break function. That shouldn't be there, because this is going to cause this loop to break after the first foe that passes through the area of effect, and it's going to have it not be applied to anything else. That hasn't really affected gameplay because this does tick off every frame, every update, but it will later. I'm going to worry about that now. All right. Not sure why my first instinct to say there was I'm going to worry about that later, because it's literally deleting one line of code. Anyway, you are now able to inflict poison on whoever walks through and not just the first thing that's detected. All right. Again, it's not a huge change, but I would rather have the game work like that and avoid any potential edge cases that might come with that. As I said, we are going to have this only be applied to the first 10 things that pass through. We're going to... This is possibly going to be a weird statement to try to pronounce, but we are going to slow anything that is in the radius while the flypaper is there, but hits remaining is only going to tick down when something is slowed for the first time. So it's not going to tick down continuously whenever something walks across it, because that would make it like vanish almost instantly. This is going to effectively be the number of foes that it's actually who are moving at full speed, who are not, who are going to be slowed down actually. And if something's already in the flypaper, then it's not going to tick down. So we can say if foe dot, what was it? Status slow is that what it was? Status slow? I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Yeah, status slow. If that's greater than 0, or I should say if it's less than or equal to 0, then hits remaining is going to tick down, otherwise it is not, and then this is going to only apply the effect to the first, say, 2 foes who walk through it. For testing purposes, let's make that just 2 so that it's only going to apply to the first 2 foes who walk through it, and this isn't complete because if hits remaining is less than or equal to 0, really it only has to check if it's equal to 0 because it's going minus minus every turn, but I've been burned enough times on less than or equal to 0 versus equals 0 that I generally do that anyway. Then we're going to destroy ourselves, and we're going to exit completely out of this function. We're going to return, and nothing else is going to be executed. And this should actually go down here. I hit V instead of Control V there. This is going to go down here because we do actually want the on-hit method to be called. All right. Let's try building you. Let's build you right by the beginning and send something in. And this caused something to break, probably because why is oh hits misspelled it there. Okay, I was looking at the wrong line for the typo. Dynamically typed languages are fun because no compile time. You can still tell I've been playing way too much BTD6 because I tried to cancel the tower build by moving the thing off screen. Okay, so 2 things passed over that and that expired. These guys are already slow as they're going through theirs, so they are not expiring. Okay. I also did I write this down? Okay, I did actually write this down in my notebook. First, let's commit this. Flypaper. So I want this to I want the flypaper dispenser to not dispense stuff infinitely, but to only have up to a certain number of flypapers out on the track at once. To keep track of that, I could keep like a list of all of the flypapers that have been dispensed, but I really don't want to do that. I would rather keep this as simple as possible. We're just going to keep track of self.papers, paper count, papers, whatever you want, is going to be equal to 0. When we, this is the wrong class, isn't it? That is the entity tower class. When we dispense something here, let's put that self.paper count over there. When we dispense something, and also I'm going to rename cloud to paper just because it's more helpful and doesn't look totally copied and pasted. When we dispense something, self.paper count ++. The flypapers, when they remove themselves from the world, when they destroy, let's see. Where did you go? This is why I need to move some pieces of code around. Entity tower, you can be collapsed. Entity bullet flypaper. We are going to keep track of a parent. And we're just going to pass that in through the constructor. And parent is going to equal parent tower. When we destroy, we can say here, when we destroy, parent.paper count minus. I could fold this into the destroy method. I could write I could override the destroy method. I will maybe get to that later. We need to pass a reference to ourself into the flypaper constructor so that the flypaper knows which tower spawned it. And let's see, if self.paper count is greater than or equal to, let's have 2 of them out. is the limit, then we'll just return. Okay, so this should only spawn up to 2 of these at once. It should not create a massive amount of flypaper. And if this works, I will go back into the code and make it a little bit neater. Okay, so we spawned 2. And as soon as 1 is destroyed, we are spawning a new one. Okay, I'm debating whether or not I like the immediate response. I could put this check up here instead to prevent shot cooldown from ticking down, and then that would cause a small amount of delay between when the last piece of flypaper is removed and when the next one spawns, like this. Let me just comment that out to show you what I mean. Because the shot cooldown is essentially not going to tick down at all if there's already 2 things of flypaper on it, and then it's just going to sit there idle until one of them goes away, and then it'll wait. Okay, that actually didn't do what I thought it would. Oh, that's because... Okay, this should be the opposite condition. We will only take down if the paper count is less than 2. Okay. Boolean math. Spawn you there. So there are 2, and then the last one is removed, and there's a bit of a delay, and then we are going to spawn another one there. Okay. That looks kind of neater, but again, I feel like if I had to choose between that and working to the player's advantage, having it spit one out instantly as soon as one goes away, I would rather have that. The downside of this first version here is that it's slightly less clear about the conditions that cause it to spawn a new one, because it looks like the flypaper just teleports to some other location. Having them like animate in or animate out would probably help with that. I have not done that yet. I don't know if I want to deal with anything like that. Not any kind of fancy animation, but maybe just spawning one of these things as a bullet and having it go to land in a location, so that it doesn't just spawn in place instantly. But that's something for another day. I have a feeling I will do it like that later. Anyway. I don't know why I ran the game. Let's do that. And I said I was going to make this code a little bit neater. This can be, we can define a paper limit of, let's make it, yeah, 2 is fine, really. How strict do I want to be about the self keyword? I generally only use that in constructors, just out of habit. There's no reason to do that or not do that. If anything, there's a reason. If anything, you should use the self keyword whenever you're referring to your own instance variables, no matter where. But I usually would use the self keyword only in constructors because it's a little bit more obvious. Was there anything else I did? Like, these are kind of magic number. I think we can all agree on what the 360 is doing in this function. That's not really a magic number, but the 12, the 15, those are kind of magic number. I don't know if I want to do anything about that. I don't really. Was there another one? Anything else that I wanted to parameterize earlier? Bullets, spray clouds, flypaper. Not really. Okay, we can commit this. So this is another tower type, which is rather in theme, on brand with the whole bug thing, is flypaper. I think there is one more type of tower that I will be doing. No, 2 more. I mentioned a magnifying glass recently, and there is one more that I want to implement. I'll do those probably in the next couple of videos. I want to do all these at once. Oh, you know what? There's also the friendly buffing tower, the cheerleader thing that I talked about and never did. I may just get rid of that. This may be enough. I don't know if I want to have like a tower whose only purpose is to buff other towers. That's kind of, well, one, I can't think of a way to make it fit with the theme of bugs. And 2, unless such a tower imparts a really, really good buff that's hard to live without, I'm not a fan of just a tower that makes its neighbors attack like 10% faster or whatever. I feel like that's kind of transparent to the player, and it's hard to see the actual benefits of that. So I may just ditch that. We'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna stop. If you want the code for this, link to the GitHub in the video description. The last couple go-rounds, I have been just creating the release on video, and I guess there's no reason to stop that now. We're on 0.25. I did push these to the origin, didn't I? Yes, I did. Write a short description and publish the release. Look for the 0.25 release. I have a Patreon, so if you want to contribute towards these videos being made, there will be links to that in all the video description-y things as well. If you do that, you can go there, you can see some fun, occasional behind-the-scenes things, see your name in the credits, hear yourself shouted out at the end, that kind of thing. Otherwise, I try to post about 2 of these videos a week, 1 of these and 1 tutorial. I hope you found that interesting, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to David Key, Edward Holt, Emily Koyo, Jason, and Zenith for supporting these videos. If you want to get access to these things a day early, or to see your name in the credits, head on over to the Patreon page in the video description to join the fun.